athletic trainer for the district. I work primarily with the high school, but I do come over first period for 8th grade athletics, and am on call at the end of the day for is it 7th period? 7th grade athletics. Yes. Okay. Just wanted for you guys to kind of put a name with a face. If you guys have any questions or concerns about your child's health, you can contact the coaches or contact me directly. Again, I'm here for you guys to try to help get them, if they do get hurt, as quickly and as efficiently for them to get the care they need. Really, that's about it. Thanks.
Thanks, Tom.
And on the doctor protocol, everyone will need to have a physical filled out to be in athletics. They're good for 2 years, so if you got it last year, it could be good for this year as well. And then every year you'll need to fill out the UIL packet form, which we have some extra copies. But every year that'll need to be filled out with cardiac and concussion protocol and all that good stuff. And sure, we'll introduce coaches. My name is Coach Nine. I'm the boys coordinator. My staff, we have Coach McBride over here. We have Coach McGee, and then Coach Johnson's back with us, but he's not here at the moment, so we're having him. Coach Cranberry.
I'm Coach Cranberry. I'm the girls coordinator, basketball track. Coach Posey, she's doing volleyball track. Coach Parker, volleyball track, and Coach Silva, volleyball, basketball track. All right, so you want to start?
We'll do a quick run through our athletics packet, kind of our rules, procedures, and whatnot. We'll go through at 7th grade, 8th grade athletics. We'll talk briefly about volleyball and football seasons. Will be our first upcoming, and a few other changes that might be new for some people.
All right. I'll go just hit some highlights on the athletic packet. Everybody will get one of these at some point, whether it be today or Wednesday. It needs to be signed and returned, parent and student signature. It's the same athletic handbook as the high school, so there's some of this that does not apply to us. So we just skip over that, ignore that. Player participation on the junior high level. All kids who suit up will participate. So if your kid is suited up for a game, they will play in that game. Now the number of minutes may not be equal. We have to take into consideration skill level. We also have to take into consideration positions and who's doing what. Volleyball rotations, it gets a little tricky. I know football, they have to take a lot of things into consideration when they're doing that. Now, if your child is in trouble, they've been to OCS, they will not suit up for a game. That means they would not play. If they're ineligible, they haven't passed their classes, obviously they cannot play. We have a no pass, no play in athletics in junior high and high school. So they have to pass their classes. The other reason that they wouldn't participate, obviously, is if they're injured. We have either a doc or a doctor tells us that they're not able to participate that way. But other than that, they will play. Athletes' expectations, obviously, we need to be able to trust each other. I know on the girls' side, we're gonna have almost 90 kids in that locker room at one time. We have to be able to trust each other. If for any reason someone steals or they are dishonest, if they're not behaving in the building, there will be repercussions that will result in discipline and up to removal from a team. Same thing on the boys' side.
Absolutely.
Lie, steal, cheat, those things we cannot tolerate. Profanity is not allowed. We expect you to be respectful to the coaches, to the teachers in the building, to all the staff that's in the building, to coaches from opposing teams. I cannot see you with my reading glasses on. And also the officials. We expect you to be respectful and treat everybody with kindness and represent Wells Point in a good light. Address people with yes ma'am, yes sir, no ma'am, no sir, things like that. No jewelry. We'll talk about those kinds of things more in athletics. Trainer, he's here in the mornings. If you are injured, it is your responsibility to go to the athletic trainer. He's here at 7 o'clock in the morning. 7, right? Get that right? So you'll just go straight to the high school, go see the athletic trainer, and then come over after that. If you're injured, you have to go see Doc. Otherwise, if you come to practice and you say, hey, my foot's really really bothering me today, we're gonna say, we'll do what you can. Have you seen Coach, have you seen the doc? No? All right, do what you can. All right, obviously if you bring a doctor's note, that's gonna tell us that you're injured. If it's something that happens in practice and it's an emergency, we'll call him over. He's available to us for that. Locker rooms, I cannot stress it enough. Lock your lockers, guys and girls, lock your lockers. I know the girls' locker room, there's gonna be PE classes in and out of there all day, all right? And there's not anybody in there when I'm not in there, but there will be other people. You have to put your things in your locker and you have to lock your locker. If you do not lock your locker and something gets taken out of your locker, we don't have a lot of repercussions to be able to help you. If your locker is locked, nothing gets stolen, all right? Unfortunately, sometimes things get lost. Somebody picks up their stuff and thinks they've got their own and they've picked up somebody else's. It happens, but if you'll be careful, lock your stuff up, we'll avoid those issues. I've already talked about OCS. We expect you guys to be model citizens. Being in athletics, at the end of the day, is a privilege. All right, it's not something that is automatic. If you don't behave in the building and you're in trouble and you end up in OCS a lot, depending on the situation, there'll be repercussions in athletics, and you could be removed from the athletic program. So you have to behave in the building. You have to behave outside the building as well. Stay out of trouble.
It goes for his class as well. I mean, you as athletes, we expect your grades to be first and foremost. You can't do anything athletic-wise without grades. So take care of the business in the class, and then we'll take care of it on the field after that.
Drug policy, alcohol, tobacco policy that's in the athletic handbook. We usually don't have issues with that at the junior high level, but if we do have issues with that, there are consequences for that that's laid out in here. Already covered that. Appearance and grooming. We expect you to go by the student handbook. So if you're in OCS because you're out of dress code, you've missed practice. If you're in OCS, then you miss the game that week. All right? So make sure you're in dress code. Make sure you're doing the right things. When we travel, you will be outfitted with the things that we give you to go. So we expect you to look, professional is the wrong word, to look like a team, and we want you to, when we walk in, say, okay, oh, Will's Point's here. We better get our business together because, you know, they look like they're here for business, and they're going to be tough. Tardies, please make sure that you're on time to class, because if you get too many tardies in class, there's consequences, there's detentions, and we don't want that. Make sure you're on time to practice. Morning practices are going to be, are y'all also?
7:45 for the boys.
7:45 for the boys, 7:15 for the girls. Make sure you're here on time. All right? If you miss practice, then there's that skill, time with hands on the ball that you're not getting. All right? So you need to be here. If you are going to miss practice for any reason, please, 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 you've got to communicate with us. If you wake up in the morning and you're throwing up and you know you're not going to make it, send us a message on Remind or send us an email, all right, so that we have that. If you're at school and you get sick and the nurse sends you home, you need to send us a message on Remind, come by one of our rooms and let us know so that we know why you're not here. Because if I see you've been here all day and then all of a sudden you don't come to athletics, I'm going to think you're skipping or you've left for some reason and I don't know why. And we've made a practice plan that includes, the setter doing all these drills and the setter's not here, and then we have to rearrange our practice plan all at the last second. So be courteous enough to let us know. If you do not let us know in advance, it's an unexcused absence. All right? So there's more consequences for that. Let us know in advance, and then we can work with you on that.
Yeah, and then both of our boys and girls will have reminds. We'll have one for 7th grade, one for 8th grade, which you'll have access to the codes at the end of it. But it's, for us, I mean, there's reasons and excuses. I mean, we all live in Wills Point. We know that the train comes through, it seems like every 10 minutes. So if you're going to be a couple minutes late because you got caught by the train, or just a quick message, got caught by this, or you had to go pick up someone, we understand it. It's real life. I mean, things happen, but just let us know. It helps so much more than after the fact kind of things.
I know if you're coming from Able Springs and Elmo, if you get caught by that train, you might sit there 30 minutes. Believe me, I've almost missed my own bus. So just let us know. School equipment, you are financially responsible for the clothes that are issued to you. If you're on a travel squad, A team, B team, you'll be issued a uniform. You may be issued a shooting shirt or a travel shirt. You may be issued sweats or a bag. All those things you are responsible for. Same thing with football and boys basketball, track. It all applies. So make sure you keep up with your stuff. That's part of athletics, is learning some responsibility for yourself and having to keep up with your things, learning to be places on time. Those are types of things we're trying to teach your young men and women. Quitting. If you quit, then high school says you cannot go to another sport and start practicing and participating in that sport until the sport you quit is over. We don't have a lot of overlap at the junior high level, but there is a 10-10 rule in junior high. So if you quit volleyball or football, and then you decide, hey, I'm going to go out for the basketball team, or I'm going to go run track, in order to participate in the next sport, you have to do 10 miles in 10 days. So whatever day you run your first mile on, that's day 1, and you have to finish the 10 by the end of the 10th day. So it's just one more incentive to try to stick out what you start. You know, my parents always used to tell me, finish what you start. Try your best to try to hang in there and learn to get through something. Sometimes we start something and we're like, man, this really isn't for me. But I've made a commitment to my team and to the people around me. I'm going to finish that commitment before I just, move on. So we want them to honor their commitment in that. We've talked about locker room. I will say, if you are in drill team, girls, you have drill team 7th period, and then we have athletics 8th period, 7th graders. We've talked to Ms. Porter. You're just going to wear your athletic equipment for drill, and then you don't have to change clothes twice. Got it? All right. Hazing, we usually don't have a problem with that, but we won't tolerate it. This is all high school stuff. Zero tolerance on hazing. Doc talked about the paperwork. Everybody has to do the UL paperwork and a physical every 2 years. So 7th grade, 9th grade, 11th grade. Games. If you have to ride the bus to a game or a meet, you can go home with your parent, but only your parent. You cannot go home with aunt, uncle, cousin, friend's mom, none of that. It's only your parent. And your parent has to sign you out. So the coaches will have a roster, mom or dad will come over, sign them out, and then you can go. If there's not a parent or guardian at the game, you have to ride the bus back home. And then once we get back to Will's Point, then whoever your ride is can pick you up. So that's pretty standard at most schools. And if you have questions about that, there's a special circumstance, something really strange comes up, come talk to us ahead of time, and we'll try to see if we can work something out that'll be beneficial for everybody. All right? I'm not going to go over the heat protocol and the cold protocol. Just know we have measures in place to really monitor the heat. Doc will send us messages and say, hey, it's too hot for y'all today, kind of like today.
Same thing with biking. Your children's safety is our utmost importance. So we're going to do everything in our power to make sure they're safe, and we'll take care of the sports. Safety is number 1. Yeah. Just like the same way we're checking your kids out at away games and whatnot. It's 2019, crazy things happen, so your kids and safety is our first importance.
Mm-hmm. There's also protocol in here from Doc about water breaks and that kind of thing. I'll let y'all read over that if you're more curious about it. Talks about heat cramps and that kind of thing. If you have a question, just let us know, and we'll look into it. If we need to send the trainer over to see your kid, we will. That's all, like 4 pages of it. I already talked about remind. That's it. That's pretty much the athletic handbook. Big thing is we expect you guys to be the best kids in the building. Because we have to be able to trust that we can take our student athletes with us to a track meet and turn them loose, and they're going to behave and not get in trouble, not get in a fight, all those things. So we really harp on them having the best behavior and manners of any
So, I mean, we know we're probably going to miss some things. My thing, we're going to try to make a quick spiel on how athletics works. For us, 8th grade athletics is our first period of the day. So how boys would work would be 7:45, we're going to start getting ready for practice. We're going to practice through the period, and we'll come back at the end for about an hour practice after school ends. 7th period athletics, we will practice during the period, and then for about an hour, which is football. How the athletic periods work on the boys' side, it will be for a 8th grader, you will have football, basketball, and track. Those are our 3 sports that we do in the period. Sorry, not track, tennis. Football will be here. Boys basketball will be at the high school first period, which will start about the 2nd week of school. Information will get sent to the parents. Coach Grant Hill, our athletic director, will be over here Wednesday to talk to both the boys and the girls, kind of briefing them on everything. 7th grade athletics will be football and boys basketball. If you are a 7th grade boy that will be doing tennis, you will be first period opposite, I believe, which I know a lot of schedules will probably get rearranged. For us, cross country is before school at
6:30 to 7:10.
6:30 to 7:10 for cross country, which will be up with Coach Lester, our head cross country coach at the high school. And then track will be after school practice. Like I said, 8th graders, tennis and basketball will be in the morning at the high school. Girls tennis will be at the high school. Girls volleyball for 8th graders will be here in this gym starting at 7:15. 7:15. And then we will have off-season basketball practice.
It'll be at the high school.
At the high school, sorry. At the high school. What other sports am I missing? So I know a few people kind of get their schedules moved around. The reason why we're doing 7th grade tennis first period of the day, it gives them a chance to get with our high school coaches. Where that, if anyone knows anything about Wills Point tennis, some of the best in the state. So they do a great job about coaching them up over there. So we're trying to get them in their hands as much as possible.
So, on volleyball in the morning, 7:15 dropped off. We're gonna bar that door. The girls will be able to come in and out that door, and then go in the locker room, change, put their stuff up and change, and then we'll start in here. And then basketball, we won't start going to the high school again until probably week 2 or 3. Yeah. So volleyball and basketball will be in the period for 7th and 8th grade, and then 8th grade tennis will be in the period. 7th grade tennis will be first period office aid, and then track is all after school. So you don't have to be in the athletic period for track.
Yes.
All right.
I know that lesson.
Hope that answered. I had a lot of questions about different sports today, so I hope that clarifies some of that for you guys.
Like we said, we need UIL packets, which we have extra copies of. If you are going to be in the boys athletics, I have both of our boys remind codes. How that will work, it will be WP boys, and then the year your child will graduate. So I believe, if you look on there, it's supposed to graduate 24 for our 8th graders and then 25 for our 7th graders, right? That way, this remind code can just stay with them the whole time. You don't have to add a new one. So for our 8th grade parents, you don't have to worry about it. You're already on it. Girls.
I don't know my reminder.
Yeah, I made it easier on me. That's why. She'll have her piece of paper as well to add for the girls' remind code. Like I said, most 8th graders should be good with the physicals, but we've got to make sure that is UIL thing because we can't get you on the court, on the field, until that stuff is taken care of. And if it kind of is a prolonged thing, we'll talk to the coach as soon as possible, but if we're going into weeks of the school, we have had cases where we have taken a kid out of athletics just because we couldn't legally put them on the court, and there's no sense really being athletics for that reason. Coaches, anything y'all can think of?
I know I told a lot of y'all today that we're going to issue locks and lockers today, but we were talking about it, and we feel like it's just going to be much more efficient and much easier to do all the girls at the same time. So we're going to wait and start issuing locks and lockers on Wednesday and Thursday, and just do that all at the same time. Otherwise, it's going to be so scattered, it's just going to be difficult to get it done. So we're not going to issue locks and lockers. Don't freak out. Everybody's going to get a lock and a locker, but later on in the week.
Yeah. And then for boys, first period of the day, our athletics will start issuing lockers, locks, uniforms, and whatnot on that. Coach McBride reminded me, if you are going to be one of our basketball or tennis people, I know you like to bring your duffel bags to change in and out. We will assign you a locker and a lock in our boys basketball hall because not taking that in class anymore. It's just kind of a safety issue. Crazy things have happened nowadays, so we're going to try to make sure that safety is the utmost, and then eliminating duffel bags will just add to our security.
Okay, the volleyball coaches were telling me on volleyball, 7th grade athletics is last period, and they're gonna go till 4:30 until we get the tryouts finished and we know who's gonna be on the travel squads. And then the time will be adjusted after that, but they're gonna let you know. So 7th grade girls trying out for volleyball, starting Thursday, you'll stay after school till 4:30. Pick up, you can just pick up in the circle right here or right there in the parking lot. And we do ask that when practice is over, that you try to pick your child up or make arrangements for your child to be picked up fairly quickly, because everybody has a family and they have things to do. They have to go back to class and grade papers and make arrangements for tomorrow. So we just ask that you arrange your ride for your student in a timely manner.
Yeah. 15 minutes would be preferable. I mean, we've all had the case where we kind of wait hours afterwards and no one's a fan, especially when it becomes a repeat thing. As for schedules, we'll be sending out the football, the volleyball schedules, basketball, all through the Remind app. That way you don't have to worry about keeping a paper copy. If you want one, we can pass a few out during the class periods. Anything on ours? Do we have any questions? I know there's a whole lot of people. Remind would probably be the best way if you have a very individual question, and I know there's a lot of y'all, not as many of us. But we could probably answer best on that, but probably have time if we want a couple questions. Anyone? Anything big glaring that y'all been through? A lot of y'all have older siblings. We good? Yes, ma'am.
Do they have 7:15 practice Wednesday, or is that going to start?
Thursday.
So that was
Yeah,
for 8th grade?
no practices on Wednesday, because we're gonna be finishing up paperwork, getting lockers issued and all that. So we'll start practices on Thursday on the girls' side.
And they practice in just Wills Point t-shirts?
We will issue them a t-shirt and shorts, so they'll practice in that. And we've got new shorts ordered for the 8th graders.
Bonus for the boys' kids. We actually wash the football clothes, so you don't have to take them home and smell like kids' clothes. We'll wash them for you. Wednesday we'll start issuing equipment. We'll track out the field for about 2 seconds to make sure we get that UIL taken care of. We should be ending 4:30 for the 7th grade and about 5 for the 8th grade. We have anything else?